Good morning, everyone. It's me, the Gorilla Condoms, coming to you live with my main man, El Cuco himself. Where we're giving you the news, the views, and all that information that is beneficial to you. Please check us out on roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money and Rogue Money on Facebook, DTube, Steam, every single podcasting app known to humanity. Also, check us out on check out our sponsors, man. Show some love and support. Support your support us, please, please. CJ, tell them to support us.
Please, we gotta feed our kids. We gotta put clothes on their back.
I gotta put gas in my M5.
and your $4,000 order watches on back order.
I know my Rolex Daytona is finally coming in sometime this week, CJ.
We better stop. We're gonna encourage people not to support us.
I know, seriously not gonna. Actually, the support actually goes to helping the cost of running the site and all the other stuff we do. But anyway, yeah, check out our sponsors. MyCBDEdibles.com, MyCBDEdibles.com. Whether you want the deliciousness of a dark roast coffee, or perhaps it is the pecan coconut beautiful truffle nonsense over there. It's absolutely delectable. Or you just want some granola, the best granola you can possibly have. Check it out, mycbdedibles.com. Absolutely delicious, 100% CBD isolate, so you're getting the real deal Holyfield. And you know how I feel about that, all about legitness. You can shop with cryptocurrencies. It is amazing. Check out remaincalm.net. Whether you got some collections issues, you're scared to death about debt, let us show you how to play the game. Check out remaincalm.net. And also, most importantly, guys, check out the Crypto School. The Crypto School. It's so cool. Watch us trade. Click on the Watch us trade link. Learn how to trade cryptos with the two best guys in the world teaching you how to trade cryptos. It is ridiculous. It is sick. The write-up in Bitcoin, everybody's doing very well for themselves. And if you need to learn and have an education on this stuff, check out the Crypto School, the regular Crypto School, which is their video education series. And, of course, liquidbase.io. You want to liquidate, go through liquidbase.io. Don't waste your time with Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, any of those guys who would like to report and tattletale on you. Liquidbase, where liquidity is the product. And with that being said, CJ, what is crack-a-lacking, my friend?
Hey, V, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to our listeners. It is Wednesday already. This week is flying by like all the others do, but doing great, man. Lots of great things going on, and I'm excited. I looked at the show topics, and it's some very interesting things to discuss there as well. But how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good in the neighborhood, you know. Where do we begin? See, I mean, a lot of things going on. The liberal world order is in meltdown because Trump happened to speak to Putin, because God forbid one nuclear power doesn't have dialogue with another nuclear power. That's always a terrible thing. Oh my God.
Right. Well, we called it, we nailed it. It's not like you had to be a rocket scientist to figure it out, but we did nail it. Their entire narrative the whole time was like, he didn't do enough. He didn't do enough.
Or they called him a puppet and a pawn. You know, dude, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger just needs to shut the hell up. I'm like, dude, you're supposed to, you want to maintain the image of a tough guy, right, Arnold? You should stop all of a sudden your damn old age. You should stop just commenting on politics and being such a friggin' libtard, man. I don't know what's up with Donald Trump, President Trump. He was, I don't like it. He's like a little girly man. Why is he out there like a little wet noodle? Okay. All right, dude. Just go back to making another Terminator. Oh, wait. He is making another Terminator movie. It's Terminator 10, Arnold versus Geriatrics. It's a movie of the Terminator Skynet has activated geriatric robots, and Arnold is playing a geriatric robot who's coming out, who's coming from the future to the past to kill John Connor, and he's walking around with a colostomy bag. Yep, that's the next Terminator movie. But the funniest thing is, man, where was the left when Jimmy Carter was like tongue kissing Brezhnev back in 83 or 82, right? In Poland with the Soviet Union, right? When Jimmy Carter was like having a love affair with Brezhnev, where was the left calling weakness on that, bro? Nothing. Silence. Crickets. Where was the left when the idiot? And see, you and I talked about this months and months ago, where Teddy Kennedy, Teddy the Lion of the Senate, the Lion as an L-I-L-Y, excuse me, I-N-G, the lying of the Senate. He's not no lion. He's a lying. He's a lying son of a bitch. Ted Kennedy, may he rest in hell. Ted Kennedy, Mr. Chappaquiddick himself. Ted Kennedy, the idiot drunkard. Where was the Democrats when Ted was writing letters that have been declassified? Writing letters to who? The Russian KGB and Russian media and at that time, again, Brezhnev. Writing letters to the Soviet premier saying, "Hey, you know what? Help us to ensure that Ronald Reagan doesn't get elected." Yeah, you don't want that. I mean, let's be honest here. The Democrats have been mutually circle jerking each other when it comes to the Russians and when it comes to communists. See, that's what I figured it out, CJ. I figured it out. The libtards love it. They loved communist Russia since the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution. They loved the Russians so long as they were communist. Right? But now that they're no longer communist, the love affair is over. See, the far left wing Democrats look at now. I understand why they hate Russia. Russia's no longer communist. It's no longer communist. It's no longer, after its communistic tendencies. And the Democrats, Siege, they're like a jilted lover. They're like a jilted lover. There's somebody who's just been so jilted in terms of their affinity for all things communist. Maybe that's why they were commenting on the Trump thing, calling him weak, calling him you like a wet noodle, Donald Trump, you're like a wet noodle. I cannot believe you did this to the American people. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger in all his I don't even know how old is he, in his 70s right now, just looking like an idiot, a total idiot. And the craziest thing is, did anybody talk about weakness when Odumbo was literally, he flew $150 billion in cash and gave it to the Iranians? Did anybody call that weakness? Huh? Give me a friggin' break. Did anybody call it weakness when Odumbo was flying over to Saudi Arabia, bending over, kissing his own ass, kissing the king's ass? I mean, just it ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous.
Well, yeah, and not only that, then you have like the neocons, right? So you have the John McCain's, the Lindsey Graham's that are like, oh yeah, this is just absolutely a disgrace. John Kasich, chiming in, the loser from Ohio, stating that by the time it's all said and done, that Trump's going to have to issue a formal apology to the American people for siding with Russia instead of the United States. V, it really makes me, when I see people posting and sharing things like that about, Trump and that he betrayed his country and all this, it really makes me pause to question people's intelligence. That's what it really does. Their intelligence. It really does. And I'm not saying that I'm a rocket scientist, I'm a genius. I'm not. But why is it that people are more triggered and more angered by Trump building a rapport with Putin than they are with the fact that there's known facts that Hillary conspired with the DNC to rig an entire election? Right. Why are more people not outraged about that? That lasted like 2 days when that was discovered. Even after Donna Brazil came out and said, yes, it's true. We knew that when we came in and we took a look at the books of the financing that Hillary was pouring all this money into the campaign and into the DNC, and we knew that we had to give her the ticket because she was basically paying out for Obama's debt that he ran with the DNC. Mm-hmm. I mean, more people are concerned. And then Putin drops a bombshell stating, "Oh yeah, by the way, we uncovered where Russian financiers were able to pour in $400 million into the coffers of the Clinton Foundation to pay for the campaign." But that's not rigging election, V. That's not influencing election by putting $400 million in Hillary Clinton's coffers for her candidacy. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb, V.
These idiots want you to believe that a bunch of Facebook ads affected the election. Okay, well, let's take a look at this. Facebook ads. The total amount spent was $164,000 amongst all different entities of varying types on Facebook ads. And lo and behold, the Facebook ads were more positive towards Hillary than they were for Trump. That's number one. Number two, some of the Russian operations that were like the so-called Black Lives Matter website, there was this particular one that was Russian-owned and operated. It was pro-Hillary. Then you have the bombshell report that, hey, on top of all this collusion, and Putin said this, hey, you want to investigate collusion? How about you investigate this? You got a couple of financiers that made $1.5 billion in Russia, paid no taxes, went over to the United States with that money, and as far as we know, paid no taxes over there. And then out of that $1.5 billion we know of, we can exactly say that, hey, $400 million went directly into the Clinton coffers during the election. Where's the nothing? You see, the smart people know that they've caught this. And if anybody's thinking that Trump and Putin went out there and it was just that what Putin said in terms of that statement with the $400 million going into the Clinton campaign wasn't pre-gamed. It wasn't pre-planned. It wasn't something that him and Trump have been working on with. You're gravely mistaken. Something is afoot. Okay, something is afoot. I don't exactly know how it will play out. I for one don't, but I can tell you right now, the statements that were said, I think we're going to have some sort of a bombshell revelation that will occur within the next few weeks that's going to divulge for all of us what has been happening. And I think, CJ, there's going to be some big name people that are going to get into a lot of trouble. We know for a fact, CJ, but right now Rod Rosenstein is under there's actually impeachment documents being drafted right now at the House to have Rod Rosenstein whacked. We know that Rod Rosenstein showed up to the White House the other day for an impromptu meeting, and they said he didn't meet with the presidents. God knows who knows. There is something going on. There is a game being played. Trump knew. Trump's not an idiot. Think about this. He's not stupid. He knows the libtards are going to have a field day. He knows the mainstream media is going to have a field day when he meets with Vladimir Putin. He knows that. It hasn't caught him by surprise, but yet he meets with Vladimir Putin. He meets with him, knowing what the blowback would be. Now, if he just met with him for the sake of meeting with Putin, if he met with Putin and there was really no grander game at play in the background, you got to be kidding me. If he were simply to meet with Putin and you think that there's not a grander strategy here that is at work, that both of these sides are colluding upon. And what did Trump say? Yeah, in terms of the American military and the U.S. military, the U.S. military and the Russian military, he said, yeah, the militaries are in constant and better communication than most of you politicians. Because that's what prevents World War III from breaking out, right? Cooler heads prevail. And we've known this. We've known this even from the Pentagon documents where patriots within the military were leaking and or sharing data, with their Russian counterparts, all behind the CIA's back, which we all know the civilian agency known as the CIA, the cocaine import agency, the rogue, out of control agency that is at work, folks. Okay, the rogue, out of control agency that is at work. We know that they're a deep state organization. And it's the same tactics we've seen them use against Reagan. We've seen them use against, even JFK. Oh, he's weak on Russia, blah, 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 blah. Something's at work, Siege. My gorilla bones feels it.
Yeah, I think I agree. To me, the question that keeps coming up time and time again, V, is Jeff Sessions, right? he's the top law officer in the country. And
you mean do nothing Sessions?
And and what is he going to specifically do? You have Congress moving for impeachment of, is it Rosenstein, the deputy AG, right? So, but what criminal investigation is Sessions partaking in? What law offices is he utilizing to begin any prosecution of that? What happened to the DNC server? How many experts have to come forth to say it wasn't possible that it was Russian hacking of the DNC server? The data we've covered it numerous times, right? The data transfer rate that they achieved that download was not possible over
Correct.
any type of T1, T3 connection. You had experts like former CIA intelligence, William Benny come forth and say, you know what, it's not possible. Experts, not run-of-the-mill people. These are people that deal specifically with the build out of those massive surveillance systems that understand this firsthand. I mean, when is all that information? Yeah, if there was information to come forth and to share that, let's get it out there now, because I'm getting concerned. I'm starting to think about, we have what next 6 years. What happens after that? What happens when we no longer have someone that's fighting, for us? What's that going to look like? I don't have a lot of faith in Mike Pence at all, which, by the way, he's been extremely quiet lately, which really makes me nervous. Is that, what's he doing in the background? So all these things I want to see take place. I want to see happen, because when you look at the surface and you take a look at what's happening economically, you take a look at inflation rising, you take a look at the massive dumping of the dollar, of the U.S. Treasuries that's occurring. There's a potential alarm bells that are going off. I think Dex talked a little bit about those yesterday as well. So we just want to be mindful of that. I don't want to see something happen where they tank the economy or something happens, and then we're going into 2020 and we have the another George Bush Senior. But it's definitely be interesting times indeed.
No, it really is, man. Speaking of interesting times, Siege, what's going on in Russia? What are they doing? I heard there's some liquidation occurring, some liquefying.
Well, look, I mean, the last several years, how many times have we put new sanctions on them? How many times are we forcing EU members to say, hey, no, you can't do this with Russia? So now we're finding out that, there's already been information that Russia is dumping U.S. treasuries, but now there's even more information sharing that since January 2016, some 48.3 billion, perhaps over concerns of selling first, and then also higher in amounts. And then fast forward later to month of May, according to the latest just released Tuesday International Capital in May, the selling of treasuries by official entities continued, with another 24 billion sold in the month of May, when yields continued to rise and eventually hit the 2018 highs of 3.11%. So why is specifically Russia doing this? Well, I mean, it's fairly obvious. I mean, why would you want to hold U.S. Treasury? Why would you, when we're currently putting sanctions on, when we're trying to cut their trade? It's just, again, the amount of treasuries it's holding globally is continuing to decline. Where it ends, I don't know. I'm just curious to see where all these treasuries are ending up and who's buying them.
Well, there's only one buyer. That'd be us. And folks, here's the deal. People who say, and that's the thing, B, because America's got a printing press and we're going to keep printing. Nothing's going to happen. Let me tell you guys something, okay? Most people do not have the aptitude to understand that, macroeconomically speaking, we no longer have fissures. We no longer have fissures in the economy. What we have are massive holes, and this has been patched over with the electronic duct tape. The electronic duct tape works so long as people are buying your debt. Do you understand? As long as the debt is being bought, because we are what's called the importer of last resort. The way it is, people buy our debt and then they reinvest into our markets. Okay, that's the way the game is played. But when nobody's buying your debt, Nobody has no interest in your debt. Then you have a problem. Then you have a massive, massive problem. At which point you'd have to say to yourself, okay, how much longer? And we have the Russians that are completely liquidating. You have the Chinese, you have the Saudis, you have most of the world. And the only way you're maintaining this is the ESF, who keeps buying it off. The ESF is not a black hole that can keep doing this forever. It's just not possible. You can stretch it out for a few months. You can stretch it out for a few years, but eventually, it's causing economic destruction. It's causing a lot of disjointed aspects, the disjointed mechanics within the global economy itself, within specifically the United States economy. And this is problematic, folks. This is problematic. You cannot keep doing this and expect nothing to happen. That's why David Stockman said it best. You cannot keep doing this and expect economic Mother Nature to stave away. You just can't. It's eventually going to come a knocking. And that's the whole entire thing here, brother. And see, you can't make this up, bro. Next piece of news here. It seems like the vaunted white helmets are being resettled. What's happening to our white helmets, bro?
This is a great idea, right? Let's evacuate them. Let's just put them north of the U.S. border. Let's put them in Canada of all places.
If that's not worrisome, I don't know what is. You can't make this up, folks. Throughout much of the Syrian conflict, the exploits of the rescue organization that calls itself the White Helmets have been a source of constant controversy. Now, according to a recent report published by CBS News, several Western countries that have been providing funding for the group, such as the Netherlands, the UK, Germany, and France, are now scrambling to evacuate the estimated 1,000 white helmets and their families, claiming that they're in danger of assassination and now in need of rescuing themselves. Wait a minute. What? Wait a minute. See, I thought the white helmets were just saving lives, irrespective of who they were.
Peacekeepers.
I thought they were peacekeepers. I thought they were just those who just love to help. But they're actually terrorists? So basically, a whole bunch of terrorist operatives, folks, are being rescued out of Syria. Because let's be honest here, the Syrian conflict is over. It's done. And they're being rescued out of the Syrian conflict. And they are being relocated, of all places. The man, or let me say the 15-year-old girl stuck in a man's body, that'll be Justin Trudeau. It'll be in Justin Trudeau's country. Oh, Canada, my true and faithful land, where terrorists can come and sleep knowing they are well. Oh, Canada, my true and faithful land. Maple syrup and jihadis, terrorist bombings, if you please. Oh, Canada. Justin Trudeau. Well done, sir. Thank you, you virtue signaling idiot. He is virtue signaling to the world that he truly loves the white helmets more than anybody else, CJ. And that is why the white helmets are in Canada.
Interesting.
Very.
Have to monitor that. We'll keep close tabs on that.
Real quick, I need people to check out these two important stories. They're both on roguemoney.net. It's the Romanovs 100 Unsettled Scores by Bankster Slayer and the tie-in article from James the Russian Analyst, God Save the Tsar. Folks, there's a reason. Here's another thing. The Trump-Putin meeting was on the 100th anniversary. The 100th anniversary of what happened to the Romanovs family. Okay, it also happens to be on the anniversary of the death of JFK Jr. So again, I will ask you, and I will tell you, I won't even ask you, but I will tell you this. The Trump-Putin meeting, folks, all right, there is more to it than meets the eye. Brace yourself. My gorilla senses are telling me, Siege, the next few weeks, we'll have some sort of an idea of where we are.
It's just mind-blowing. I read it last night, and went through it again today. the history of the Romanovs and the unsettled scores and how Bankster Slayer perfectly breaks down, in fact, where the Federal Reserve was able to obtain their gold from. You want to talk about a little bit about that, V?
Go for it, brother.
Yeah. So apparently, when this massacre occurred of the Romanov family, the very close tie that they have not only to EU, to the European royal family, but in part where the Romanovs kept their gold. And in fact, that was tied directly to the city of London.
Yep.
And apparently, at some point, the Romanovs' money, which was pretty significant at the time, that gold was transferred over to the Fed, to New York, to the Federal Reserve. And now I think Vladimir Putin, who apparently, according to V's article, and I firmly believe it, that he actually keeps a picture of the Romanov family in his office, V. Yes. I think he may be wanting that gold back.
Oh, yeah.
And our friend Jim Willie, on his last interview with our good friend Gus Demos's business partner Will Lair, Jim Willie specifically spells that out. So I'll read directly from what Bankster Slayer put in an article. Who was the wealthiest man on earth in 1905? Tsar Nicholas Romanov. His brother King George of England decided to kill him and steal his gold, take the bulk of it and move it to New York and start the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve's foundation gold is stolen Russian gold.
Yep.
You see why the Rothschilds want to keep Russia at bay?
Oh, yeah. They're crapping a brick right now, man.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You see, yeah, I mean, that's exactly correct, man. That is exactly correct. They want to keep the Russians at bay. Folks, do you see what's happening here? There is a change. If you're saying to yourself, this is all controlled, everybody controls all sides, the Rothschilds control everything, and there's simply no hope anywhere. There's simply no hope anywhere. Everything is doomed. And I'm going to go down to the basement, and I'm going to have my cat food, and yeah, that's it. Everything's controlled. No, everything's not controlled. Okay, everything is not controlled. Otherwise, you'd be having a chip up your rear end right about now. You'd be scanning your right butt cheek as you're buying your Frosted Flakes right now. Okay, but that's not the reality of it all. It is different, and there is a fight. And right now, I'll tell you, man, the good guys are winning. And let's just hope we get to finish the job, and there'll be a future generation that'll have to face this threat that always appears every 50 to 100 years. Anyway, Caesar, brings us to the end of the program. We have lined up. Anything lined up today? I got the trading boys over. I got the crypto guys coming in. Z and Cowboy later today, probably at 2 p.m.
I think it'll be important to keep up with that and watch the move in cryptos that I think will start to happen. I think as there's more cracks that are going to be happening in the markets. I think when eventually the real GDP numbers come down. I mean, this talk about a 6% GDP growth is just insane. It's not there. They'll come to the realization of understanding truly what's happening in the U.S. economy, and in part, V, just another part of that too is just the inflation. I mean, it's prices are starting to soar up, go up right now, and in part, wait to see what happens here. With the grocery stores, with retail pricing. Yep. So I think we're going to start seeing another move to cryptos and people looking for other solutions. So I think it's that time. So I'm excited to hear their show.
Yeah, me too, brother, man. Me too. So I'm looking forward to it. With that being said, folks, we are over and out. Take it away, CJ.